Hello students, today we will discuss now important subject digital signal processing. Very beginning of this subject, first of all there is some introduction of digital signal processing. So first of all you know what is signal. As far as signal is concerned in digital signal processing, what do you mean by signal? The signal is a physical quantity that varies with time, space and with any other independent variable or variables. What does it mean? First of all, we have to define what do you mean by the signal. It is very much important to know what is the physical significance of signal or what do you mean by signal. So signal, it is a physical quantity, it is a physical quantity that varies with, signal is a physical quantity that varies with time, space and any other independent variables independent variables. Okay, the exact definition of signal, it is a physical quantity that varies with time, space and with any other independent variable or variables. So more precisely we can say that signal itself carries some information for observation. So how will we represent the signal, that is important. So it is a physical quantity that varies with time, space and any other independent variable or variables. For example, if I will say suppose S1 of t let 5t and S2 of t equal to like 15t square. What does it mean? Here t is your independent variable and this function, first function, the signal varies linearly with the independent variable is t, the signal varies linearly with t. And here second function, another signal varies quadratically 15t square with t. So it is a physical quantity that varies with time, space and any other independent variable or variables. The signal itself carries for information for observation. So then if I will say another function, suppose another function, that is your what? Another example, suppose if I will say S3 of xy equal to 5x square plus 10xy plus y square. So this is one type of example of a signal and this function shows that is your 5x square plus 10xy plus y square. Here x and y two spatial coordinates. Okay, so there is a variety of signal, you can represent the signal in varieties of way or different way. So it is a physical quantity that varies with time, space and with any other independent variable or variables. So more precisely we will say signal carries some information for observation. There are three words, one word is your digital, second one is your signal, third one is your processing. So already I told you what do you mean by signal. Then what do you mean by digital? The digital means what? Digital. The word digital shall mean that the word digital shall mean that we represent the signal in discrete means digital manner. Okay, the word digital shall mean that representation of the signal in digital form. Okay, so you will represent the signal in digital form. What do you mean by digital? If you will say there are one is analog signal means continuous signal, another one is your digital signal. If we say what is analog signal and another one is what? Digital signal. Analog signal and then your digital signal. So analog signal is a continuous signal. Analog signal is your continuous signal. It is a continuous signal. Continuous signal. Continuous signal. Like a sinusoidal signal. Like is your sinusoidal signal. Like this. So that is your amplitude varies with respect to time. This is your x-axis is your time, y-axis is your amplitude, varies with time. And digital signal, in digital signal, this is your two types of signal. One is your digital signal, another is your discrete type signal. So digital shall mean that what? In case of digital electronics, so that is your what? That is your one is your plus 5 volt, another one is your what? 0 volt here, or minus 5 volt or plus 5 volt, and this is your 0 volt. 0 volt. Here plus 5 volt by means of rectangular pulses. Here plus 5 volt here, plus 5 volt can be represented by binary 1 plus that is your binary 1 plus 1, and minus 5 volt can be represented by binary 0. As far as 1 0 is concerned, and this is nothing but what? In a computer can understand only binary languages or machine languages. So this plus 5 volt can be represented by 1 and 0 volt, or if it is a 0 volt, a 0 volt can be represented by binary 0. If it is minus 5 volt, also if the pulse is like this, one is plus 5 volt, another is minus 5 volt, plus 5 volt can be represented by binary 1 and minus 5 volt can be represented by binary 0. If it is only plus 5 volt and 0 volt, plus 5 volt can be represented by binary 1 and 0 volt can be represented by binary 0. As far as digital electronics is concerned, by means of rectangular pulses, plus 5 volt can be represented by binary 1 and 0 volt can be represented by binary 0. But in case of discrete time signal, here S1 of t, discrete time signal means what? There is we have to represent the signal in a discrete form. So in case this is nothing but your analog and this is nothing but digital, the word digital shall mean that we can representation of the signal in a discrete form. So then third one is your what? Processing. What do you mean by processing? Processing is what? Digital signal processing. The processing means what? Processing can be done by means of special purpose. We have to process these discrete signal or digital signals. Digital signal processing, by processing, what do you mean by processing? Processing. What do you mean by processing? Processing means operating some fashion on a signal so that you will get some useful information. If we extract the signal, you will get some useful information by means of processing. First of all, three words. Again, I will tell you, repeat again. The signal, what is digital, what is signal, what is processing. Signal means it is a physical quantity that varies with time, space, and with any other independent variable or variables. That's what we can say it is a signal. Then what is digital? The word digital shall mean that the signal can be represented by means of discrete signal, discrete form or in digital manner. This is your digital. Then processing. Operating some fashion on a signal will get some useful information. Processing, operating some fashion on the signal to get some useful information. Okay, operating some fashion on the signal to get useful information. So already we know what do you mean by digital, what do you mean by signal, what do you mean by processing. If we combine these three words like digital signal processing, the digital signal processing means that first of all representation of the signal and processing the signal. That's what we can say, that digital signal processing. Again, I am repeating again, the signal, it is a physical quantity that varies with time, space and any other independent variable or variables. So digital means what? The signal can be converted into digital in a digital form and or in a discrete form. Processing means what? We have to process the digital signal to get some useful information. By what? We can say that processing. If we combine these three words like digital signal processing, the digital signal processing, first of all, we representing the signal and processing the signal. That's what we can say, that the digital signal and processing. So then first of all, a block diagram of if we will draw a block diagram of DSP, digital signal processing. First of all, we have the analog signal, analog input, analog signal. It is your input signal. Input is your analog signal. Then here this is your A to D converter. A for analog, D for digital. So A to D converter, what happens? It converts a continuous signal or analog signal to discrete signal or digital signals. This is analog signal. In output of AD, you will get what? That is your digital signal. Then what you will do? Then here, that is your DSP processor. This is a processor. This is your what? Processor. Processor means this will process the digital signal. Then what happened here? Then the processing signal is nothing but what? Digital signal. In processor, input is your digital, then it is processing the digital signals. The output of it means what? We will get some useful information. What? Digital signals will get some useful information. The output of the processor will get our required signal, that is your output of the processor. Then what happened here? This is nothing but in your digital form. Then we will convert D to A converter, and you will get your original signal. So here analog input, it is also you will get what? Analog output. Okay, this is your analog input signal and this is your analog output signal. First of all, you will convert analog signal into digital signals, then processes the signal by means of processor. Again you will convert D to A converter, you will get your original signal. Here the input signal can be processed through this by means of DSP processor. This is your block diagram of DSP. This is your block diagram of DSP, digital signal processing. So first of all, this is the basic things. You know what is digital, what is signal, what is processing. This is all about how your signal is processing by means of DSP processor. Same input signal, analog signal, you will get same analog output signal. In between this, we require 2A to D and D to A converters and processor, and we will get the analog input can be processing by means of in this way. Okay, this is all about the introduction of a digital signal processing. What are the applications of DSP? Digital signal processing can be applied varieties of in DSP. It is a varieties of applications: consumer electronics, military, seismology, speech processing, image processing. There are so many fields we have been applied digital signal processing. So there are so many advantages of DSP. It is a cheaper, accuracy is better, and these are the so many advantages as far as digital signal processing is concerned. But it has some disadvantages and limitations, like the system complexity, and another limitation is what? The bandwidth requirement is one of the limitations in case of digital signal processing. So now students, so this is today this is all about your introduction to DSP. In next class we will go through details how to represent the signal, discrete signals. There are different types of discrete. We can represent the digital signal in or discrete signal in different ways, like graphical representations, and second one is your functional representation, third one is your sequence representation, fourth one is your tabular representation. First of all, how to represent the signals. First of all, you must know what do you mean by the DSP. DSP, it consists of three words like digital signal processing. First of all, you know what is signal. So it is a physical quantity that varies with time, space, and any other independent variable or variables. So more precisely, we can say that signal, it contains some information for observation. Then Second one is your digital. The digital means what? How to convert some analog signal to digital signal by means of A to D converter. How to represent the signal, that is important. By what we can say that the word digital will come. Then third one is your processing. Processing means what? Operating some fashion on a signal to get or to extract some useful information. That's what we can say that processing. If we combine these three words, analog is a digital signal processing. The digital signal processing means that represent the signals by means of a discrete form and processing these signals. That's what we can say that digital signal processing. Then this is your block diagram of DSP. In block diagram of DSP is what? How a analog signal is processes. How will processing the analog signal? Processing means to get some useful informations by means of the block diagram of DSP. This is a continuous signal or analog signal. First of all, converted into digital form by means of A to D converter. Then applied to the processor. Then output of the processor will get what? Also digital signal. They again will put given input to the D to A converter. D to A converter means convert digital to analog form. Whatever output at this output is same as what? The processing, that what? A version of the signal analog input. Analog input, you will get the analog output. By means of processing, you will get some useful information. So thank you, students. Next class we will go through details how to represent the signals, and all things we will do. Thank you.